Hi, it's me, Amy P. And I've had a crazy week and I got into a terrible meltdown yesterday. And yeah, I have only myself to blame. But basically, last weekend I worked um, at well, the primary care emergencies. Um, and then that Sunday, I went to visit my friends in Stockholm, and I met up with a friend who I now think is maybe probably an ENTP. I don't know exactly what type he is, but he has so many crazy stories of things that he's been through, and they make me so amazed at everything that life has to offer. So I really, really enjoyed that. But I was really tired when Monday came. And Monday was the day that I had a lot to do. I had to get into the routine of going to my healthcare clinic, the regular workplace that I go to. And everything was so different because there are new people around, there are new routines. And nowadays it's very difficult to ask doctors for help because they don't have time for the help. They used to have more time to be like a doctor, like the daily doctor. They used to have more of that so that you would know who to ask that day. Now they don't have that as often. Some days they don't have that. Some days they only have a few hours. And that sucks because one of the things that the doctors at my workplace wanted me to do was ask more questions. So it's like, great. And also the doctors that are now there, the ones that haven't left basically, are for the most part people I don't want to ask questions to. So yeah, it really sucks. Then on Wednesday I went to Stockholm to for a kidney like a course about the kidney, and I met my old supervisor there, and she tried to recruit me to the healthcare center that she's going to. The one that she is at is like the neighboring one, you could say, neighboring healthcare center. It's very small, and it's also a lot of digital work at that place. So it's quite a new place, but she describes it as a very good place. The reason that my supervisor left my workplace is because she couldn't deal with the other doctors and my boss. So I understand why she moved, but it kind of didn't feel fair that she was trying to recruit me to the new place. Because I'm not really in that phase of life, like maybe I can go on an adventure to try something else once I've become a specialist in 2.5 years, or maybe once I've done my different placements in different places. But at the moment, it just felt kind of wrong. And I've built this whole life for myself. It's not easy for me to make friends, and especially at work, and it's kind of, yeah. And so the fact that she said, oh, have you considered coming to this place? I kind of, a few months ago when she left, I would have said no. Like, I would have like not even tried to entertain the thought because I just needed to survive. But then I started thinking about it, and that was dangerous because then I realized like, this is actually really tempting, And then I was like, why is it so tempting? And I realized, well, things are not going well for me at my general healthcare clinic. And that's why I've been struggling. And that's the thing with workplaces, especially like healthcare centers. There's always periods where it goes up and down and up and down. It depends if somebody leaves and then there's a little bit of a chaos for a while, and then it's suddenly like stable, and then there's more chaos that comes by. It's always like this, up and down and up and down. But right now, everybody else considers it as an uptime. Well, for me, I considered it as a down, like a bad time, because my old supervisor is not there, and I've been placed in another team with other nurses and another doctor, and I have a new supervisor, and he's lovely, but it's not the same, and it's really hard for me to get back into this. And then so she started telling me about this other workplace, and I realized, like, oh wow, there's so many things that I do not actually like. The whole point of me actually choosing that healthcare place was because I liked the colleagues, was because I felt I could ask questions and knock on anybody's door. And now I don't feel that, because this place has changed so much. So I started feeling unsure about, like, am I ready to take a step to another workplace? Like, that would definitely be a disturbance in my routine and everything. Is it so bad? Then I went back to the workplace on Thursday, and one of the residents said that she would stop working at our workplace in a few weeks. And the reason for that is, well, because it's kind of interesting. She's moving in with a farmer, and so she's going to be living in the real countryside, you could say. And so this healthcare center that she wants to move to is closer to where she lives. So that makes sense. But yeah, that kind of triggered something in me. And then I told my new supervisor, about all the things, all the problems, and how I didn't feel good. And I started crying. And the thing is, he offers solutions, and I feel like I can't think. I am like panicked. When I'm panicked, I can't think. And it's so difficult for me to decide things. And I need to do that middle of residency evaluation thing. So we're trying to focus on that. But he says that he's willing to be the person that I ask for questions every time. Like, he said, if it's going to help me to ask questions, then, and to feel at ease with my patients and the difficult cases, then he's ready to be there to help me out, and he's ready for me to ask any questions, to knock on his door. But I feel like I can't bring myself to ask questions. Like, he has patients too, and so it's hard for me to accept that. And at the moment, I feel like I'm right in the middle of my residency, where I feel like I have too much responsibility, and I'm expected to know so much that I don't know. And at the same time, they don't respect me enough to respect me enough to, when I ask a question, that I don't feel stupid for asking a question. And it's like, you can't have both. You can't think that I'm super competent and at the same time, like, not respect me at all, And I feel like I don't know what to do, because so I tried on Thursday. I tried to ask questions to two of the doctors that are there, and I just felt like such a stupid person. And I know that they won't say that. They'll say, like, oh no, of course you're welcome to ask questions. But I felt like they were saying, like, why are you asking such stupid questions? And then I start thinking, like, is it true? Like, am I having such bad self-esteem that I think that I don't know anything? Or is it that I really don't know anything? It's kind of the Kruger effects thing, where it's like, first you think that you know everything, and then you don't know anything. The more you know, the less confident you feel. I feel like I don't know anything at all. And then I'm there like meeting the patients. And then I'm asking stupid questions, and then they, and then they want me to ask questions, and I'm going to reveal everything that I don't know. And that's terrible for my social anxiety. And so I tried, but I felt like I was going to explode, and I started crying in the changing room, and luckily nobody saw me. And then I walked home in tears, and then I cried and cried and cried and cried for hours. And I called my best friend, my ISFJ friend, or he called me because I said that I wasn't feeling good at all. And I was crying and I couldn't breathe. I was talking on the phone, but my nose was all clogged, and I felt like I was going to, and I couldn't speak even really. Like sometimes I was just like, nothing coherent was coming out. And then I tried to sleep, but I couldn't sleep. And then I cried during the night as well. And then I felt like my nose was all clogged up, and it was just not a good time, And I wrote to my old supervisor, and I told her, I'm feeling really, really bad, because I asked those two doctors for help, and then I didn't feel good. And she said, yeah, those doctors, she said that they like to make you feel dumb. And that is true. I didn't choose the easiest doctors to talk to. But that's because they were the ones who had some time that I could ask. So what can I do? Like, the people who I went to ask don't have time, and the people that have time I don't want to ask. Okay, in the middle of all that, I was feeling like my throat hurts and like I'm sick or something. Or maybe it's just all of the snot that I've swallowed because of crying so much. So yeah, I cried for several hours in a row, and I was considering like sick leave for myself. Now, I tried to take it easy today, because today I actually had some administrative time in the afternoon, so I could like chill out a little bit. Like I could just go through my list of things and work on each patient. However, I feel so stupid about, like, I don't know what I'm doing with any of the patients. Like, I've lost control over everything, and I don't know enough. And then I feel too scared to go and ask any questions. And also I don't have time to go and ask questions. I have like these patients, they take all the time that's allotted to me. And yeah, it's just impossible. And then the patients are like really happy about what I do. So I guess that they're doing okay, but I don't know if it's actually the right thing to do. Like medically, there are so many things that you have to check, and there's so many things that could go wrong. And there's so many things I could miss. And I feel like I can't. And I don't know if it's because I've become better at what I do, or if I've become worse at what I do. If I've become better at what I do, is because maybe I notice the things that I did wrong in the past. I hope that that's it. I really hope sincerely that that the reason that I feel like this is because I'm now noticing all the things that weren't well done before. And that's why I'm kind of getting a panic about like, oh no, I need to rectify all of these things that I've done wrong. Or if it's because I truly am not good at what I do, And, people will reassure me and be like, yeah, no, of course you're doing great. But they don't know, unless you've seen me like meeting the patient, if you've looked at the journals, if you've checked what I've done, it's only then you will realize how much of an imposter I am. I guess that this is like imposter syndrome in a way. It's like I'm hiding all of these things I don't know. And so that's why I should be asking more questions. But it's like, how can I ask questions to people who just hate me, you know? And I'm not like, yeah, it's a bit much to say that they hate me, but it's like, I can't work in such an environment. And so, yeah, I could take my new supervisor's advice of like going to him with all the questions. But he's often, he has other things to do. And it shouldn't be his duty alone to answer my questions. It should be distributed among the doctors, but it is not. So I guess I'm going to try to ask him more questions. But I feel like I don't have the capacity to start again, to pretend that I'm new at this job again, to pretend that I'm. And I think that what happened also is that during my placements, I was kind of treated like I was a student. And so I was not given the hardest things. I was also, I could always ask questions because they didn't think that I would manage it. So they had me. They always had somebody next to me to ask questions to, or somebody that I could call to ask questions. But now I'm alone, and I shouldn't be feeling this way. And that's the thing, is that the problem is that my workplace and my new supervisor, my boss and everything, they will say that they will put the responsibility onto me. Oh, well, you should be asking more questions. You should be keeping track of all this. You should be able to find time, and you should be able to knock on anybody's door. And you should get over yourself about not liking certain people and not agreeing with their way of doing things. And so I understand, but at the same time, it just feels so bad, and I want my workplace to be back the way that it was when I first started my residency, which is where people actually felt like a family, where we could, of course a workplace isn't a family, but I felt like I could ask anybody and that they would help me, and that it was accepted and celebrated that I would ask questions. And now it's like they tell me that you have to ask questions, but then at the same time not giving me the resources for that. And so I don't know, my supervisor asked me if I should go and work part-time, and it's like, sure, but I find it unjust that I have to go and work part-time and lose a lot of money. If I worked even 80%, I'll be losing a lot of money, on that. If I decide to even, and also the fact is that I have a certain amount of patients. So then that means I would have to do the same amount of work in a shorter amount of time, which is absolutely not what I want. I want to be able to take my time. That's the whole thing. So yeah, I was feeling really terrible yesterday. I felt much better today because I was able to do my administrative tasks and call these people and all. But, and also, well, it was Friday, so I knew that Saturday and Sunday was coming. I know that I've put too much pressure on myself with both working on the Saturday, going to Stockholm twice in a week, and trying to get used to the new routine at my job. But it's depressing, it's depressing to know that I'll never manage what most people will manage. And also that I'll never be understood by anybody, basically. And so this morning was a little bit of a weird experience where my boss, this came from the heart. My boss came and was just, he was saying hi to everybody and all that. And then he came to me and asked me how I was doing. And when he asks he doesn't usually ask how are you doing. He'll just be like, hi, in Sweden, it's not really a thing where people are like, how are you doing? That's not a thing that people go out and ask here. But he said, how are you? And I just said, not good. I just replied automatically, and then he was like, okay, well, if you're not feeling good, just go and tell me. And he left it at that. And I think that he wasn't like prepared to get that answer. And so that's why he didn't help me out with whatever. I think I threw him off. That wasn't my meaning. I just said whatever I thought. I usually just keep it to myself, but I had been having a terrible, terrible day. He doesn't know about all that, but he didn't know that I had cried for several hours the night before and throughout the night. But yeah, so he was just like, yeah, go and tell me. And I didn't have time to tell him. That's the thing. So that sucks. And then I did call my clinic, and my psychologist, who was supposedly back part-time, is now sick with influenza or something. So that was great. Yeah, I've been waiting for 3 months approximately now. But I did get to talk to another person on the phone, and she was very sweet. So I told her the situation, and she took a little bit pity on me. She said that she was going to contact my psychologist next week when he's back from his influenza and tell him to call me back, because apparently he's not doing this himself. I got forgotten. So yeah, there's all that. I wanted to tell you guys all about the great stuff that I talked with my ISFJ and my ENTP friend, because my ENTP friend has a lot of funny stories. But yeah, this was pretty much more of a depressing vlog of my life. And next week I will be going to my German ENTP friend, I guess, his PhD party. And so maybe I can talk to you guys then about, well, what happened at that party. It is kind of funny because he just said, before we even asked, we asked like, how is it going to be like? How many people are there? And he said, it's going to be just a small party. And he said, nothing vegetarian, nothing vegan. And that's because, well, there will be a lot of sausage because it's going to be a lot of German stuff. Yeah, I just find it funny that he like said that, like there was no choice, no vegetarian option. Yeah, I guess also his girlfriend is Argentinian, so it's probably also going to be a lot of meat from there. Not saying any stereotypes, I'm just saying that's, well, I think the Argentinian food is not, it often has meat. But I might be wrong. If there's somebody Argentinian, like Naura, I think, Naura, you're from Argentina. If there's anybody from Argentina in the comments, maybe you have some vegetarian options from Argentina. If you're German, maybe you have some vegetarian options. I know that some German places are really, they have really good vegetarian options because, you know, I know of quite a few German girls who are vegetarian. So maybe they don't eat like just regular foods, but that's are like, traditional German foods. But there must be a good vegetarian culture in Germany. Anyway, so we'll see how that goes. I'm going to try to regulate myself this weekend just to like calm down from all this, because it felt like my whole body was going to shatter. It didn't matter how much I tried to think myself out of the situation. It didn't matter how much breathing exercises I was doing. I just felt like I was going to, like the tears were going to spring out at any moment, that I was going to fall into the pits of despair at any moment. I didn't have, it's a wonder that I even managed to stay at work that day, and I managed to go to work this morning. This morning I woke up and I got tears directly when I woke up. I managed to kind of, calm down a little bit, but now I need to work on just taking it easy this weekend, and so that I'm ready for Monday. I'm not going to be taking any more weekend work. I might go down in time. I need to talk to my boss about that. And I will try to ask my supervisor questions. We'll see about how it goes. So tell me what you guys think. I really thought yesterday that I had gone back into burnout. I was so worried, because this was a humongous meltdown. Like, really, I couldn't. I thought that it was just the beginning of the spiral downward into hell, So yeah, I hope that I'm going to get myself out of this scary direction, and not get worse. I'm trying to get the support I need, but it's not easy, and it's hard when everybody around you is just like saying, oh, well, everything's normal, when really it's not. So yeah, have a great day, everybody. Bye.